Let us begin.
Yeah,
It is connecting.
Fanta. Oh my god.
You can see me?
There's wonderful advertisement. I can't talk today. All right, fantastic.
Ready when you are, sir. Alright. Well, to everyone watching from Twitch and YouTube and those to come, this is Odd Man Out's game, Legend of the Maze. We are going to be running through it. Chase Maldonado is the game designer. He is also going to be today's architect. I am Con of Cons. I am going to be the COG FS03-06660 NC designated tag Stumpy for the fleshlings. I will give it over to
Oh my
you,
gosh,
Chase.
I love it.
Lead us on our
All
journey.
right, so yeah, where do you want to start?
I am completely at your disposal. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever scenario you have concocted, whatever you want to
All right,
discuss.
cool. All right. Well, let me give a small description of how it all works. So we have ourselves create a character, and we'll run through the basic levels of how the game actually operates. So we've got role play, where you act as your character and you make sure that you stay within your character, play as how they would play in that scenario with other people. I will act as more or less all other characters. And then we move into the next stages. There is combat, where you take actions against other people, typically violent ones, of course. And then the last one is actually traversing the mysterious labyrinth that is the maze. So yeah, let's get right into it. Stumpy here is one of the 4 classes that we have listed: the Arcanist, magic wielding person, able to use runes in order to spell magic, more or less. Magic doesn't work in the same way as a lot of other games where you just simply cast a spell. In Legend of the Maze, you actually need to write a spell using 3 different types of runes. They're usually engraved with magical potency, and then you string them together to create a specific effect or to get an effect that you were looking for. Here. All right. So
Do I start with any runes, or do I just get my quarterstaff?
So you have your quarterstaff, but when you take the first rank, woohoo! All right. So you can add this to your inventory. You have 3 types of runes. There's prime magic, alpha, and spatial magic. Sorry, there's a little reverb. I'm gonna fix that later. Woo! All right. So how it works is you string together the prime, the alpha, and then spatial. So the primal acts as how you're going to have your spell affect the world.
It's kind of like the
Like, what
elements.
kind of spell is it going to be? Is it going to be a conditioned spell? Are you going to make it? What is it making going to do? Right. The alpha, the middle one, is what the spell actually is. Then you have the spatial magic, where it tells it in what direction is that spell going. We'll get to that. But so in your inventory, you can go ahead and put in a regular rune, a full go rune, and since Con, you have the actual book, you can go ahead and refer to page 83 for the actual list of all the runes and stuff that you will get. So let's see here. Right.
searching through them now. Rune costs. Oh, that's a little too far down. Still too far down. Oh, okay.
Cool.
Coming up on it. I see the prime magic.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. We're still trying to piece it all together.
No, that's slower. So 83, you said? Archetypes of the league. I'm the Arcanist, right? So
Yes.
0 rank? What are
You'll actually be first rank.
first rank?
So
Introduction to
there's
Rune
two
magic.
ways you can start the game. You can essentially start at 0 rank, where you have no rank in any of the 4 classes, sorry, and then you will move to through progression in the game. You'll actually move into what's it called? Into one of the ranks after you've experienced the league.
Kind of like
So,
Rune Maker and such.
as the Arcanist, yep, you're going to have Prime Magic Full Go. You're going to have the Alphas here listed there. So, and then there's a detailed list here. I would recommend anyone who plays as the Arcanist to write down not only the actual rune that you have, but to actually also include maybe a brief description of just what it does, just so you have it at your disposal. I feel, and I have tested it, a lot of players seem to notice that they remember specific runes that they use after they have a few encounters using them.
Gotcha. So I'm essentially creating a spell, it sounds like.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, and what does the Full Go rune do?
Okay. So Full Go, it causes the spell to gleam and flash, adding a blindness effect to those who are affected by the spell.
Oh, okay. And a regular rune.
And the regular releases a controlled energy to cast standard level spells. It's essentially your basic level spell formula that will add 1d6 of damage to the spell, whatever it is.
Oh, okay. I'm quite the noob at this. So to cast a spell, I would select which rune I want and roll a dice specific to it?
Yeah, so if you were in combat, casting a spell takes 1 action, but to cast the spell, you need the 3 different runes. So you would simply state which of the 3 runes that you're going to use. Like if you were in combat and you needed to cast a damaging spell, you would simply, need at least 1 of the regular runes, and then whatever spell that you're going to cast will cause 1d6 damage. And the 1d6 meaning you will roll a 6-sided die, and then that will be the damage output for that spell.
Oh, okay. So you said I should pick an alpha magic?
You will already have alpha magic. Let's see. As an Arcanist, you receive Perforo, Ictus, Volnus, Temet, Vopar, Muto, Pharaoh, and Somi.
Gotcha. And then I get spatial magic as well?
Right.
And then as I level, it kind of broadens or becomes more dangerous. Alright, so what did you need me to do? I have a regular rune and a Full Go rune in my inventory. You said 1 more rune?
You gain all of those listed.
Okay, so what page is this? 85. I will refer back to that. And then I weave these together to make certain spells.
Correct.
Gotcha. That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Cool. So I'm just going to take this out while I explain this because the reverb. What you're going to be doing is the League has sent a letter to an outlying dimension informing you that there is a trick potentially dealing with magic in a specific city in one of these dimes. This dime is an enchanted dime, meaning that magic actually works within its boundaries. Apart from that, you really don't know anything more other than the name of the dime itself and its location. The league doesn't seem to have much information about it as well. They simply were simply just informed, probably not too long ago, of its own location itself. Things in the maze tend to disappear and reappear, surface and resurface. So it's hard to keep a track of these things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. So the dime you're looking for is Deidre. It is an enchanted dime, similar in that of medieval sort of Renaissance theme. And so it is located within Zone 3. So to explain what that means, when you're dealing with the zones, the maze is based off of where the focal point that you're starting is. Mm-hmm. So you're in the center, and if it's in Zone 3, that means you need to go 2 zones out in order to get to that area, in order to get to your location, i.e. the Dime of Deidre's. So in order to get to that location, you need to do what's called traversing the maze, which is one of the main steps of gameplay within the game. Now, being that it is within 2 distances of zone, or 2 zones difference, you're in 1, it is in 3, you therefore need to travel 2 zones across in order to make it there. So, in referencing the guide, of course, you will have to make a total of 6 checkpoint requirements. These checkpoints are how you gauge how you are progressing within the maze itself. Since it changes and it moves around, it's hard to kind of get a feel for it sometimes. So you'll use a third eye and a sort of psychic perception, if you will, mm-hmm. that will help you lead you to your destination. That was kind of a rant.
No, it's all right. No, Torch, it's not D&D. This is Legend of the Maze. This is a tabletop for on-the-go play with 2 to 8 players, if I'm correct. Chase Maldonado is the designer of this game, and we're trying to streamline it for Kickstarter so we can get it some hype. So if you actually want, feel free to check out his Kickstarter link. But I think this game is definitely going to revolutionize tabletop gaming.
Yeah, I can only hope. I know that this has been a passion of mine for a while. And then, so for those who want to see it, I'll kind of hold it up kind of close to my face. This is the actual size and dimensions of the game. So it's this thin, you know, it's made to be portable, made to be taken with you wherever you go. It's small enough to fit in any book bag. It's also designed, once you get started, to be quickly accessible, and then you can just play wherever you want, so long as you have another friend to help play with you. It's that simple.
And there you have it. So what would you like to go over? You want to head into the game, or is there anything else specific you would like to discuss?
No, I think I'm ready. Let's just go do it.
Let's do it.
All right. So you've just received your orders from the High Arcanist, who is in charge of the Arcanum, the magical branch of the League. The League being the overseers and sort of protectors of those who travel within the maze and those who are akin to it. Let's use that word. So you find yourself standing in the middle courtyard of Metris, the city inside the maze itself, founded by the League, no less, and they have given you this task, and you're facing the outward doors that lead into the deep reaches of the vast maze. So I'll give it up to you. I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to make any preparations before you go, or do you just want to ship and shape out?
Let's see. Let me sift through my inventory real quick. I have a quarterstaff, some light armor to keep me not so protected, some ruins. I reach into my bag. How much money do I have? How much silver, copper, and gold for purchases?
You have exactly 50 silver.
I have 50 silver. All right, and how much do these little potions cost? Some health potions along the way to keep me healthy.
Common small health potions only cost about 1 silver.
All right, so I am going to dip into this and get about, I would say 5. So I'll go down to 45 silver and buy 5 small health potions.
Sure.
And I won't keep it too crazy. So I think that... And I'm in the courtyard right now with the League, right?
Correct. So the League branches out all around from the main courtyard. From there, you can access the 4 main branches, the Arcanum, the Guild, the Authorities, and Research and Development.
Gotcha.
From that point, you can access the market, and then beyond the market is the exit doors and the exit gate to the maze.
Well, then I will proceed towards our objective.
All right. So as you approach the exit gates, there is a small, short, rather rotund gentleman wearing plated armor and holding a very large, slightly menacing axe, and he's guarding the gate, as you can see it. And as you approach, he kind of looks up, takes notice of you, and goes, "Preparing out?"
Well, my short fellow, Beeboop, I am quite on a journey. As you can see, my parcel with all these things, I am an arcanist. I see you with your axe that is overcompensating for your shortness. I need to figure out a way to my objective. Have you any advice?
Have you brought enough health potions with you? As traveling through the maze can be quite difficult, and I don't exactly appreciate that comment about the shortness. He kind of glares at you and almost tantalizingly reaches back for his axe just in case.
Oh, if only he would, I say to myself. I will loot more things from him. But yes, I say to him, I have 5 health potions of the small descent. I think and feel I am ready.
All right. He nods waringly enough, seeing that you seem prepared, and he goes, "All right, I shall lift the gate. If you ever find yourself in need, please return back here as soon as possible."
Thank you, short one. I will if I find the need.
He grants you a scowl and then walks away to have the gate opened up and leading into the vast underground that is the maze. So now, as we kind of talked about earlier, you're going to have to make 6 checkpoint requirements. This means you're going to have to roll 2 6-sided dice, and then we'll take paths according to what you roll.
Sounds good. And I believe you have the dice for us.
I do. Well, let's see. Do you have a die roller?
Me? I have one I think I can pull up.
Cool. I guess I suppose it doesn't matter, actually. Here. I have 2 lovely dice.
Alrighty.
All right. As you start beginning your way through the maze, you notice that it starts to branch off in 2 specific different paths. the halls are concrete slabs with very little definition and almost no detail upon them. To your left, you can see that it arches up a little bit, almost curving, and then disappears as it slopes over the other side. And then on the other side, you look and you can notice that it is a lot more dim and a lot darker in nature, as well as it starts to kind of give off the air of mustiness.
Mustiness. Sounds interesting. As I am a cog, I feel it will not affect my senses as much as others. I will take this route.
All right. Now,
the smell.
So, just for viewers, just so they know what I'm doing, he has picked a route, and now there are a number of options available to him. I will now reference the guide, and we will see what has become of our poor hero.
I am poor. I only have 45 silver.
All right. As the stale mustiness approaches and gets a little bit more intense, you are aware that there's a small light further along in the head of the tunnel. And then as you get closer, you realize that the light is actually coming from the other side of a large ravine. So this ravine simply ends where your road was. Like you were walking and then it just cuts off. And then there is a large cavern underneath you and it stretches all the way to the back. And at the other side, you can see a torchlight. Let's see. Let's see. All right. I'm just going to read the excerpt that's written from the encounter you're going to be experiencing.
Sounds good.
Yes. There is a canyon carved from rock where the path ends and begins again at the other side, with seemingly nothing in between. In between this space lies a peculiar walkway, a walkway that is unseen to the naked eye.
But I am a computer.
If you were to try and attempt to make it across the cavern, you're going to have to make a specific luck check. And a successful attempt will lead you to getting across the other side. Otherwise, you will fall in the ravine and have to take a different route.
All right. Well, as my luck is 4 with a modifier of 1, I will slowly walk towards this cavern and feel lucky.
So, as you approach, you start wedging your way across. You start to feel a give and a sense of solid footing underneath you. And you realize that this pathway truly is unseen. It is invisible, and yet it's right there underneath you.
Oh, this is miraculous.
I would like you to roll a 1d12, or I can roll that for you, however you'd like.
Yeah, if you can roll it. I put away my dice, or my dice screen.
All right, let me see here.
Or I could pull one up on the phone for next time.
No, that's fine. Ooh. Okay. Do you want to go with my roll, or do you want to roll yourself?
No, your roll's fine.
All right. What was your modifier?
It is +1 for luck.
Okay. So as you started wedging your way across, you start to notice inconsistencies in the ground. You can notice where there's sort of a slight shade difference, and your optical sensors within your own circuitry have been able to diagnose apparently what is and what is not the bridge. This must have been fairly good luck. Let's just say this You rolled a 12. You crit rolled this.
This deception
challenge.
is no challenge. I can perceive
So,
through all of this.
yes. So now you can clearly see the walkway you need to go down. You take the path, and you're suddenly at the end where the torchlight was. And as you reach there, you notice that there are more torches going down in a row along this new path. And as you're walking, you start to notice it change ever so slightly. The architecture seems to soften. There's more greenery coming in. There's vine work. There's moss. There's that everlasting smell, so to speak, of
stench. Does it grow stronger?
Agriculture. All right. So now we'll go ahead and we're going to roll again. So when you completed that task, that counts as one of the checkpoints reached. So you had 6 in total that you needed to get. Now you only need 5.
Very good.
All right. And now we'll simply reference the book as far as the checks go. There we go.
Oh, book of knowledge. Give us our path and our journey.
All right. So you follow the torchlight, and the torches lead, and then they branch. And you'll notice that the torches start going in one direction to your left, and then to your right, the moss and the overhang of the roots and the vines and the greenery starts to thicken on the other side.
These weeds, I do not approve of them. What is this deception? Is it more deception? What must I do to proceed? Are we moving forward? Or are the weeds blocking my path?
You can notice a specific... you can almost make out a pathway that you could potentially gain to maneuver through the growth of weeds.
Would like to walk through or maneuver through the weeds.
Through the weeds.
I'm feeling confident. For Stumpy is my name. Everything I do is wise.
All right. Fantastic. All right. So as the weeds and the overgrowth start to get more tangled and knotted, you approach a little harder or a little further in and realize that the growth is actually originating from a point. And this point is actually coming from this large vase. And this vase, you can see the roots are sprouting out from and attaching to the walls, and the weeds are sprouting out around it, and it is completely blocking your path.
I want to smash it.
Yeah. It's a very giant, heavy vase, I should say. And inside or on the face of the vase itself, it has a design on it. And it almost looks as though something fits into it.
If I smash it, I can find out what fits into it.
We can check it. Do you want to attempt to try and break the vase?
I do. I will hit it with my quarterstaff.
All right.
Which should be 1d6 plus my mind, which is +3. Or is it my whole mind?
Once you roll for damage. So
Yeah.
you have to roll in order to hit.
Okay.
Using the body modifier. Let's see.
My body modifier is 1.
Is 1?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were not clearly thinking when you did this. You drew up your staff and you just poked right into it, and unfortunately you didn't realize exactly how strong the vase was, and it was a bit stronger than your staff, and it just kind of like came back and knocked you back in your face. And I'm gonna need you to take 1 point of damage.
What is this heresy?
You critically failed the roll.
Yes. Staying true to stumpiness.
So, like I said, this vase and the overgrowth is completely thickened to the point where you cannot proceed any further.
Well, I have used my body and failed, so now I will try to see what is in the vase.
All right. So that'll be a mind score. What's your modifier?
+3.
All right. So upon looking further into the vase, you can notice that there is almost a pulsing, living feeling from it. It doesn't seem to contain any actual species or creature within it, but it does almost seem alive. So, but besides that, you can't determine it. You can also tell that this thing has been here for eons, and you're not exactly sure how long it has been there, but it's been there for a long time.
Interesting. And if I wanted to cast a harmful spell to it, what would I do?
You could choose to cast the spell. I will also state that this is at the point where the path is unpassable, and you can turn back.
Can turn back. And there's no other entrance or no other exit to proceed through.
Right, but you can turn back the way you came through the underbrush and probably go towards where the torches were.
Can I communicate with this entity?
Not that you can tell.
Then I will return back to the path of the torches.
Okay. Right. All right. Okay. As you, so you make your way back from the tangled and growthing woods. The vase is still there. It's still blocking your way. So you decide to head back. You come back out from the tangled mess through the roots and the vines, and you find your row of torches. So you make your way down that way towards the torches, and you start to notice the temperature increasing a little bit, and you also notice that the torches themselves, the actual pits of them, are growing larger and larger in succession. So as you keep going, they're getting bigger and bigger.
This is
until finally it leads you to a large cavernous room. This room is like a giant cylinder. You can almost think of it. It almost looks like a silo. And there's one singular giant pyre of flame in the middle of this room. Upon entering, the doors seal behind you, and suddenly the flame starts to burn and erupt. I am going to have you make a body check.
I have a +1
And what is
modifier.
your body modifier?
It is +1.
+1. All right. Cool. So as the flames erupt, it starts to spit smaller balls of fire everywhere. Luckily,
Ah!
you had enough time to notice the danger ahead of time and was able to dodge out of the way.
Like the Matrix.
The fire is still erupting, so is there anything you want to do?
The fire's still erupting. I want to try and contain the fire.
Contain the fire. All right. We could do that by casting a spell.
And how would I do that? Which spells would I conjoin?
Let's look here.
Because alpha magic would be... Is Ictus some form of ice magic?
No, that is to cause bludgeoning damage.
Ah, I see. Piercing, slashing, pure damage. Terra Ventus. Aqua. I don't think I get these yet, do I? Prerequisites. No, I don't get these.
You have the Tempt spell. Let me see. You can create an inanimate. Sorry. You could create an inanimate object equal to the size of the potency that you use. So if you connect that to the regular rune, you can make something of a decent enough size. It's more or less a conjuring spell.
And which rune is this that would create the object?
The Tempt spell.
All right. That's the Tempt spell?
Yep.
All right, and to do that I have to use something nearby?
No, it takes into account what else you're going to use. So we can use the regular rune for the prime, which is going to create a decent or a small to medium-sized object. Then you are going to add the Tempt spell, which is going to create whatever object you want to make. Then you have to just simply add in the spatial magic. So you can add whether or not you want to create this from or in a place in your lines or in your line of sight, sorry, or do you want to place the created object on yourself?
And I can't place it on the fire.
Well, I mean, if you create it within your line of sight, you can then use it to maybe pick it up and snuff out the fire with.
All right, this sounds promising. And you said I would use the Tempt spell to create an object?
Yes.
I will create... Let me think. A giant cog wheel. As my stumpy-like intelligence is rather limited and uncreative.
All right.
Or I guess a cog wheel.
All right, so since you have all three runes, you're simply able to make it happen. But you lose those three runes since they're now used. So you no longer have them.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So runes are expendable.
Yes. But the good news is they're fairly common. At least the basic ones.
Gotcha. So certain spells require more than one type of regular rune? I see like regular and then in parentheses M.
Oh, let's see.
Or it'll say like regular and then in parentheses 25.
Right. So prerequisites require, so the number next to the spell, or the rune, sorry, indicates the number of times it must be used before it is mastered. So if you use regular as an example, you need to use that spell or use that rune in a spell at least 50 times before you can say you fully mastered it.
And I have to fully master
then when
regular.
you look at if you look at any prerequisites, you need to meet that condition plus the number of times it's used. So if you use Exerto as an example, it has a prerequisite of any rune with a mastery of 25. Or even, Parvis, the spell right under Regula. It requires Regula to be used at least 25 times before it can be acquisitioned.
I see.
Yes.
Good to know. Okay. Probably should have bought more regular runes.
Let's just say for this example, since we're going through the demo, let's just say you have 10 of each rune. So your rune bag's a lot bigger than normal.
All right, so I have 9 left.
Yes. 9 of the regular runes. Of the linear runes, which I assume you used in order to create it within a place of your line of sight.
Indeed.
Yep. So you used 3 whole runes in order to cast that spell.
All right, and linear rune, I had... Okay, I see. So I have a lot of runes in my bag right now.
Yeah. And that's something that's being fine-tuned right now, the number of runes you're allowed to carry versus, how many spells you can use. So more or less how it works right now is that no matter how many times you've cast, as long as you have the runes, you can cast the spell.
Interesting. Very interesting. Gotcha. All right. So what does flattening the fire with a cog do?
All right. Let's see. All right. So upon throwing the cog onto the fire, it officially snuffs it out. Yes. The fire begins to die down, and you could just see, based off of lack of oxygen, that it is just not. It's not doing too hot. No pun intended. Once the fire's officially out and the silo of the room is quiet and cold, the doors raise on either side, and you can now officially pass to the next checkpoint.
So, this was quite the steamy situation. I will, Is there anything nearby to collect or pick up that I can place in my bag?
There's some burnt ashes and some burnt wood. As just a designer, I would say, you may be able to pick up some of the ashes or the wood that was used from the fire, and you could potentially make runes out of that at some point.
This sounds good. I will pick up some ashes and burnt wood. And I assume, since my hands are all mechanical, does the heat really affect them?
No.
Wonderful.
I mean, this is given enough time so that the ashes don't actually burn you.
Good. Very good. Alright, so I proceed through after picking up the ashes and burnt wood to the next corridor.
Alright. Beyond that point, you notice that there is a drastic change in the architecture of the walls around you. They have now become much more sleek, much more modern. It almost feels like the walls and the flooring is made of something other than stone. It almost feels like glass. There is sort of this almost futuristic feel to it. There are lines cascading along the walls that almost look like circuitry. And once again, you come to a fork in the road.
I trust the direction left more than any.
So at this fork in the road, you notice that one is very brightly lit. One has a lot more circuitry patterns along the sides of it. But aside from the difference in the circuitry on the walls, there's no difference between the two different paths.
You said one is brightly lit, and then the other one not so much?
Correct.
I will go with the not so much. The darker area has mystery.
The dark. All right. Okay.
Dangers fermenting in the deep.
So you reach the end of the corridor. The circuitry sort of feeds into this large, giant door that stands before you. And there's no actual physical definition on the door. It's almost like a sleek wall that blends in with the rest of it. The only thing that is different about it is that there is a small pocket within the door that allows you to essentially place something inside of. And I'll just sort of read from the description here. All right. You have approached the tolls. The tolls are a curious phenomenon that travelers can come across. At its roots, the tolls are an entirely harmless and one of the safer routes that travelers can take. Physically, the tolls are large doors or gates with no way of allowing anyone to pass unless payment is made. Both coin and credit have been proven to be effective methods of payment, at which time the gates open and allow safe passage. The amount of payment required is usually listed on the toll and vary depending from toll to toll. So, above the pocket or the hole within the door, you see a large 4, 0, and 0 inscribed in the digital circuitry on the door.
Okay. So 4 zeros right above the door?
A 400.
400. Oh, okay. So I have to pay 400? What? Is this 400 credits?
It is 400 copper or credits.
That doesn't sound like too much. I have 45 silver. So that would put me at what, 44 silver and 600 copper?
Yes.
I will do it. Is there any way to make it through the door without paying?
It does not seem like it. Like I said, it's a almost faceless door. It has no hinges, no nothing. You can't see any way to get past the door unless you put something inside the pocket.
Darn. All right, I will place 400 copper into the door.
All right. Take that out. All right.
This cog is going to starve.
Sorry, I'm snacking. All right, so since you have placed the money inside, the pocket actually closes, a door slides down, and the 400, the number 400 on the door glows in a green circuit, and the door seamlessly slides to the side and allows you passage forward.
Yes, onward.
All right, cool. So at this point, you've made 3 checkpoints of the 6 that you have to make. So we're halfway there.
Very good.
All right.
Have I avoided every combat situation so far?
Actually, yeah. There haven't been any combat situations. And I've added them too. We've narrowly avoided them all, but you might not avoid this one.
I mean, seeing the fact that I like to hit myself in the head with my quarterstaff, it might behoove me and my mechanical longevity to avoid fights. I seem to want to kill myself in this journey.
Okay. Okay. So as you progress forward through the catacombs and the twists and the turns, it turns left and it turns right, and suddenly you realize that you are getting yourself extremely lost. The corners become sharper, and your way is becoming more impeded by repeated stops and dead ends. Until finally you reach a cavern that is more, it's like a wider version of the room. The walls spread out on either side and they go forward a lot farther. It almost feels like a large lobby, if you could think of it like that. And the paleness of the walls, the white and the circuitry are slowly starting to fade. It's almost starting to look back like concrete and construction work. There are a bunch of what are they called? Like scaffolding and equipment scattered around this room that make it a little hard to kind of see everything that's in the room. And as you approach this, you can see a door on the other end. The door looks like just a regular old door, nothing new, nothing different. But as you start to approach it, you hear a grunt.
As I start to approach the door, this grunt, I want to analyze my surroundings for any possible threats.
Okay. What's what's your awareness?
My awareness is 70 feet.
Okay.
I'm quite the coward, so my awareness is rather high.
All right. What's your mind modifier?
+3.
Ooh, okay. All right. So as you listen in and you try to look a little bit closer, you start to realize that there's something else in the room with you. And it is not yet aware of your presence, but it will be soon.
Do I know what it is?
I'm sorry, what?
Do I know what it is? Or can I make out what it is?
Yes, in fact. As you hear the grunting, you hear a couple scrapes as though it's almost brushing up against the equipment that's nearby. And you notice that from behind a large crane that has been toppled over in this room, that it has horns and hooves and a large axe. And you, sir, have yourself a minotaur in front of you.
Is there any way before it sees me I can sneak behind it for a surprise attack?
Yeah, absolutely. That will be, you're trying to stealth and try not to be heard, so it'll be a body check.
I have a +1 body modifier.
Yep. So
This sounds bad.
you take awareness of the large bull in front of you, and you decide to try and make a sneaky attempt to get around it by moving underneath the scaffolding. Unfortunately for you, you didn't quite exactly take into account how old the scaffolding was, and a simple touch caused all of the scaffolding to fall over.
Well, this is an unfortunate
And now
circumstance.
you have the Minotaur's full, undivided rage and attention.
Can I talk to it?
It kind of looks at you with an unintelligent look,
So
and you can tell that it has almost zero understanding of what you would say to it.
So this is the spot where I need to, whoops, cast a spell.
Right. And so the first thing I would like to say is we're going to be entering combat phase. So unlike other games where you make a check to see who goes first, all you have to do in Legend of the Maze is take account of the speed of the characters that are going to be initiating combat. So what is the speed of your character?
35.
Okay, so the Minotaur has a speed of 40, so the Minotaur is going to be able to get a first round in before your turn.
This sounds delightful. All right. I'm ready.
All right. From your distance, you can tell that the Minotaur is probably around 30 feet away from you. Let's see. So what it does is it raises its axe and it lets out this large bellowing screech, a roar, in fact.
Holy crap! He's pissed off.
Yeah. Oh, he's not exactly happy. So he lifts his axe and he starts to take a charge. He's going to make it, actually, because his distance and speed is 40 and you're only 30 feet away, he's able to easily close the gap in between you. He leaps over the crane that was currently in divide of you, and he makes a swing at you.
This sounds dangerous.
Okay. All right. So at this point, you can try to make a check to avoid the roll.
Sounds like you're coming up
what's your damage reduction?
-1.
Fantastic. All right. Okay.
Feel free to.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna roll for you. What's your body score?
+1.
+1. No. Okay. So based off the roll, he rolled a 5, plus his body count gives him, or his body modifier is 2, so it gives him a +7 on his attack. You rolled a 7 plus the 1 equals an 8, which means you were able to avoid and anticipate his attack against him.
Speedy little coward I am.
You because
that would have destroyed my health.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a giant great axe, so that's a thing.
He's very rude. He didn't want to talk. I was trying to get around him, and he just wasn't having it.
I mean, you did knock over the scaffolding.
I mean, there's that.
All right. Okay.
So
now it's your turn. You get 2 actions. You can move. You can attack. You can change weapons. You can do whatever you want.
Well, he's right next to me, right?
Yeah, he is now within 5 feet of range. You can maybe try and get back a little bit, get some distance between you, but remember that you have a 35 distance, he has a 40. He'll always technically be able to close the gap.
Is there any way to figure out what does more damage to him, or does it really not matter? Like slashing, bludgeon, piercing? Or
I have a list of his weaknesses.
Okay, you have a list of them. You
don't know what they are.
Gotcha. Certain spells like Perforo, it has like 50 next to it. What does that mean?
That's the mastery level.
Is that what I need to use it?
No, what that means is, so since you used the regular rune once, right? That means you have a regular 1.
Yeah.
Once you hit that number that's listed on the book, you have essentially mastered that rune, and therefore you no longer need a physical piece of the rune in order to cast the spell.
Oh.
Yeah. So
cool.
Mastering the rune is very helpful. It's very
so I'd have to cast Perforo 50.
beneficial, because you can then no longer need that rune in order to cast future spells.
Gotcha. So I'd have to cast Perforo 50 times in order to master it.
Yes.
Okay. And then I can combine other spells with Perforo?
Yes.
See, that's the part that gets interesting. I just still don't quite get how to do it.
Easy enough. So the Perforo is an alpha magic, which means that it comes in the middle. Now that you know what kind of spell you want, you need to discern the potency and the spatial awareness of the spell.
Okay, so if I wanted to use like Motum, that would be a conditioning spell?
Right. So that would add a condition to it, but it wouldn't add any damage to it.
Okay, I think I'll do Motum, Perforo, and then what adds damage? The potency spells?
It is the spatial spell. And at level 1, you can only use the rune that... What is it? I wrote this book, and yet I still don't know where everything is in it. All right. You have the Seisei spell, and you have the Linea spell. So the Seisei spell, or the rune itself, allows you to cast that on yourself. And the Linea spell allows you to project that spell in front of you within your line of sight. So in this situation, you would use the Linea.
Gotcha. Spell targets the caster. Okay, so Linea would... So I have to use one of these when I'm casting spells?
Yes.
Okay, so...
In order to cast a full spell, you need to use all 3 runes in order to link them all together and thus weave a spell.
Okay, so I have to use spatial, conditioning, and... Oh man, there's a lot of different types of spells.
Oh yeah.
What's the other type?
And especially the different combinations, it's almost infinite.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do. So if I wanted to stun him and do damage right in front of me, I would use... you said the Seisei? Or the Linea. Linea spell with... Which one of these? The Perforo? Perforo? I think... Because that would be the alpha magic. And then Motum paralyzes.
Right.
And that's conditioning? Or prime magic? Would that work? I think, because that uses all 3. Because it says the prerequisite is any rune.
Yes. So let's see.
Oh,
where's the Perfora rune?
Oh, it's any... Motum is any rune at level 50. So I think Fulgo would be a better choice because it blinds.
Yeah, Fulgo. You have a Fulgo rune. You don't have... Let me see here. Do you have the Motum rune?
I don't think so. I mean, the prerequisite is any rune at mastery level 50. I don't have that anyway.
Right. You don't.
So I would use Fulgo, Linea, and... What was that other one?
Then you just need the alpha magic. Like, how is it going to be cast?
Gotcha. Which... Perforo.
You said the Perfora?
Yeah, which causes piercing damage equal to the potency of the spell. I mean, a Minotaur is pretty big. I want to pierce through him, make sure it's effective.
Right. So what it does is that's a spell If you were to cause damage, it pierces the wield or the caster. Since this is a conditioning spell, it's just going to act as a piercing spell, but causing no damage, if that makes any sense.
Whoop. So how would I do damage?
Okay.
Maybe I'm not understanding that part. Sorry.
All right, let's roll here. It is a... Okay. All right, against its mind.
Oh, I see.
So more or less, I am now acting as the Minotaur, trying to defend against you firing a piercing blast that will cause me to be stunned.
Well, blinded, really. I don't have the ability to do the stun yet.
Okay. So, as you narrowly dodged the Minotaur's great giant swing, you realize that you have a chance, like an opening. You pull back slightly and you let loose this blinding flash. And now... And now you have successfully blinded the Minotaur.
Yes! Dumb buffoon is now blind. And you said I have one more action I can take?
Okay. So now, since the Minotaur is blinded, it can't actually see you. It can't know where you are. So all it's going to do is try to make an attack with a deficit.
But do I have 2 attacks, or is that the only attack I have this turn?
You can only do one of the actions. You can move. You can
okay. So you...
change weaponry. You can do something. Once you've attacked, it ends your turn.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. Rolling for you. Okay, cool. Completely blinded and enraged, the Minotaur doesn't seem to be able to get a grasp on where it is and where you are. Its awareness is down, and it gives you an opportunity to either move or attack.
I will attack it.
Okay. Are you attacking it with the staff?
I'm going to use one of my regular runes.
Okay.
And I will blend it with... Let's see here. Another Perfuro rune.
Cool.
And for the last but not least, trying to find the last one. Spatial magic. I will use a linea, so...
Alright. Cool. Alright. So let's see here.
So, regular Perfuro linea. I feel like Harry Potter.
It does kind of have that feel. Alright. Okay, so you cast your spell, you let it loose, and the Minotaur, in such a blind rage, just took a full shot at, like, close range. Yes. Unfortunately, it didn't seem quite as phased by the damage done, but it does seem a bit weathered.
Maybe it wasn't the correct approach.
Well, would you like to know?
So is it the Minotaur's turn since I attacked?
Correct, it would be. Let's see. Now it's going to try and make a change, or a check in order to get past the blindness. Oh, and a crit failed. Nope, that thing's blind as a bat.
Yes!
All right.
I'm not worried about this beast. Trivial matters. I shall conquer it.
Okay. So with it still being blinded, it can't make any other action, so we'll skip now to your turn.
All right. I will attack it again with the same magical combinations. With
All right.
what is it? Regular, Perfero, Linea.
Perfect. All right. So now you have cast the second shot, and the second shot has landed square in the Minotaur's face. And you can see it's obviously deeply hurt by your piercing damage. Unfortunately, it still looks like it is very ready to go and very full of life, if I should say anything.
This thing seems dangerous.
Yeah. No, Minotaurs aren't, they're not a joke.
Is this normally a beast that would be well suited to multiple people?
Yeah.
I will consider it a triumph if I conquer it.
Yeah. Well, let me just say this. It is designed for... the Minotaur is a strong creature designed for parties to fight, as well as higher level parties.
Good to know. All right. And I'm a noob. All right. So it should be his turn, yeah?
Correct. I was just eating.
No, by all means, take your time. I'm gonna...
All right. Yeah, it's still failing the blindness check. So it's still completely blinded. Wow, you hit it really good.
I try. It's my face. A lot of creatures don't like to look at my face.
Shock.
They prefer blindness.
And awe.
Why do you think I'd cover it with this beautiful mask?
All right. Let's see.
All right.
Oh, something fixed there. All right, cool. For whatever reason, my audio is now working.
Sweet.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but hey, I'm not going to complain. All right.
All right, so let's see. Can I only use one conditioning rune?
Yeah, so how the runes work is they simply fit into the 3 different positions. Once you've put that in, you can't tack on more.
What if you master them?
All the mastering allows you to do, it means that you can tap into that rune's power without actually having to have a physical copy of the rune.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Wow, that's so much better. Oh my god, I can actually hear myself think, and it's not reverberating. Oh, I don't know what I did to fix it, but oh, I'm so happy. All right.
All right, then
Okay.
I will attack it again with a similar lineup, because
Same lineup?
I know no better. If it's going to stay blind, I'm going to make sure.
Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. Your piercing shot landed right on its shoulder, and it took a significant chunk, like a good stab through it. It is now slightly bleeding a little bit, but
yes,
not enough to cause it to be encumbered or unable to act. And because of that, it is now going to try and cure its blindness, which it is failing again. This thing is dumb. That's the one thing. I designed the Minotaurs to be strong, but not exactly the smartest cookies in the cookie jar. So
that's all that matters.
Well, it makes up for it in the amount of felt it has. You've got a long way to go, if I should say anything.
That's depressing.
All right, so are we attacking again with the same lineup?
If I transform it into a small object... Oh, wait. Is he considered an object? Can I transform him into another object?
You cannot transform him. No.
Sad face.
Yeah, because he's considered a large object because he's larger than your own size.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. Size difference is based off of your own character size. It's not like small, medium, large. It's no, my character is like 3 feet tall, so anything within that same general size is considered normal. And then, anything bigger is bigger, and anything smaller is obviously smaller. So.
Huh. Good to know. Well.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's got to be a way to, like, buff myself.
Well, remember you also have the Seisei rune, which allows you to attach the spell onto yourself.
But wouldn't that do damage to myself?
If you use the regular rune, yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, let's see. Later on, there are spells that are more supportive in roll, but I don't think you have them yet.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they all require regular mastery.
That's fine. Then we will once again we will do regular Perfurolinia. We'll take down this monster.
Okay.
We shall conquer it.
Oh. Damn, okay.
Did I crit? I'll slap him with my spells.
Alright, one sec. Okay. Yeah, alright, so you took out the runes from your bag and you laid them out in a similar fashion as you have in the past, and you shot a bolt of pure energy straight into the eye of the already blinded Minotaur.
Yes. Keep him blind.
And it just stabs into his face, and it creates a large crevice along the side of his face, and he is not happy.
I don't care.
And now it's going to attempt to try and figure this itself out. All right. Okay. Well, apparently the knock on its head and the gash on its face was just enough to clear out its own eyesight. So it has used one action to cure itself of blindness, and now it will take a swing at you.
This sounds daunting.
A little bit.
I would like to protect myself.
I shouldn't do this. But I will. Sucks for you.
This is rude.
I mean, it's not me. Oh, okay.
I got this.
It got angry. It threw its giant great axe up and then swung it down. You pressed your body together in order to try and take the impact of the blow, which you could not avoid worth anything, and it just nails you right in the side, and you take 7 points of damage.
Good to know. Just, sitting here at 3 life.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
It also knocked you about 10 feet away. So, hey, that's something.
True. All right. Well, I am going to try to blind this heifer again. So let's see. Right. I'm going to use... Forget the rune. Was it full go? Yes. So I'm going to use full go. I know it was Linea, and was it? Yeah, full go, Perfuro, Linea. I'm going to blind it in a straight line with piercing.
All right.
Getting the hang of this.
Yeah, its intelligence is not that great. So
Hey, we have something in common.
You line up the shot, and it fires directly at it, knocking it right in its face yet again, thus blinding it.
Mwah!
I should also just mention that there is still a perfectly good working door at the other side of this room.
No.
Oh, okay. Just thought I'd mention. Well, since you're 10 feet away, it can't actually hit you, so all it's going to try and do is cure itself. Yeah, it apparently learned your tricks the first time.
Dang it.
And it was not exactly fooled the second time around. And so therefore, it is now completely cured. So that was its one go. Now it's just going to take enough time to get back up to where you are. It is now 5 feet distance away from you. Large and hulking and preparing that nice good old great axe that you love so much.
And how many points of damage does a small health potion heal?
1d6 worth.
Oh man. And I can only do this once, right?
That it counts as a turn, yeah.
Oh, how far is that door from me? It's kind of tempting now.
It is about 50 to 60 feet away from you.
50 to 60. All right. Then it looks like we have no choice. We will blind it again.
And here I was like, oh, look, this man's going to listen to reason. No, he's going to go for the door. No, he's going to try and attack the giant, angered, half-blind bull again.
Yep, gotta fully blind it so we can heal up and smack it some more.
Oh my god. All right, so this time did the trick. You launched the spell. It threw out and smacked it right in the face. And now it is fully blinded. Now, unfortunately, it's going to try and resist that. Ow. Yeah, no, it picked up on your trick. I don't think it's going to work again. But now it's your turn, so...
All right. This is troublesome. How many... It gets to try to resist it every time I cast it?
Yes, because since you cast it on its turn, it can then take an action to try to resist it.
Okay.
Yeah, which counts as an action. So it's kind of at a detriment to itself, but it also obviously helps itself because, you know, who wants to stay blinded?
Gotcha. So it trying to recover from blindness costs it its turn.
More or less, yes.
All right, we got this. We'll just blind it again.
Oh my God. Well, remember, it can wake itself up, or it can resist the blindness, and then it can attack.
Gotcha. This is sounding like the end of Stumpy.
Oh no, poor Stumpy.
Am I dead? No.
So more or less, you lined up the spell, and at this point, I think the Minotaurs figured out your game long enough that it didn't even blink. It just kind of like pew, and it pinged off of its head, and it was just it didn't work like that.
This doesn't look very good for me.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, it's your call. You can gladly do whatever you would like.
Can I run away still?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
How so what I would move 35 feet towards the door, which is what, 50 feet away?
Right.
And the Minotaur.
And you can choose to run at full speed, which will take up your whole turn but double your distance. So you can make it to the door in your whole turn, but then it will go, once you get to the door, you have to actually like make it past the door. You know what I mean?
I think I'll do that. 3 life.
All right. Okay.
So that'll put what, 75 feet between me and the Minotaur?
Yeah, and it can only get 40 feet of distance. So it's going to do the same thing. It's going to follow you, and it's going to catch up with you just at the end, but it's not going to have any actions to take in order to take against you. So you're good. You have enough time in order to make it across the door.
All right, and I can move and drink a potion, or can I only drink a potion?
Drinking a potion or using an item counts as one action against your 2 actions.
Okay, I'm gonna drink a potion.
Go for it.
Lord knows, I don't know what's in the next room. Do I get only 1 health? Sad face.
A little bit. So you drank the potion, but unfortunately, you didn't quite feel good enough effects from it. But you kind of feel a little more jazzed, a little bit more energized.
Yes.
You got a little bit more in you.
Got a
so
little,
that's something.
Little punch.
1 point of damage.
Someone spiked it with very little bit of alcohol. I feel ripped off. I think the apothecary cheated me.
That is potentially a potential point, yeah.
I will try to leave this this area and open the door.
All right, cool. So you make it just to the door, and just as you reach it, the Minotaur is closing in behind you. You swing open the door, and it closes, and suddenly it feels as though you're entirely cut off from the room that you were in previously.
Sounds good. Just what we needed.
So, yeah, that is the thing. Now, we can successfully say you've more or less passed that.
I mean,
okay.
Not fully intact, but missing a few of the pieces back there.
As you make your way past the door, you're kind of hobbling a little bit, and you just sort of like, you hear this low grumble and then a roar, like, roar, behind you, and a not so happy Minotaur you are leaving behind.
The onsets of steroids and its effects.
So, all right. Now, let's continue further. All right. Interesting. So, your next encounter brings you to a room with 2 matching doors.
Sounds good. Nothing mysterious about that.
One door is red and one is green. And they stand side by side. They look to be about the same color and the same design. The only difference is the color. I will let you pick which door you want to go through.
Because I have 4 health, and red means danger, we are going to proceed through the red door.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got me again. Here I am thinking this man's going to be a wise potato. No. Okay. I've actually always wanted to do this encounter. This is exciting.
That sounds daunting for me.
Oh, you keep getting the good ones. Let me tell you.
I'm not in combat, right?
No, you left combat when you walked past through the door.
So can I freely chug potions?
Yeah, if you want to, but then you'll use them up.
Could I try one more potion? Try to
Absolutely.
get my health up in case another Minotaur decides to say hello.
All right. Now that you've had enough time to actually rest and recuperate from the grueling task of blinding the poor Minotaur, you have had enough time and you feel the good effects of the potion to where you regain 4 health.
Yay! 8 health. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's a little bit better.
Yeah,
small potions can be a little unpredictable sometimes.
Alright, so I proceed forward.
Through the red door. Through the red door, you see just your typical, hallway. It almost looks like it could be within someone's residence, a house, maybe a mansion. The wood along the walls seems to be made of some sort of oak or something like that. There's tapestries and there's busts of what appears to be, probably really important figures, but, you can't discern who they are. And the hallway keeps going on further and further. And as you progress down this hallway, you start hearing chants or voices. You start hearing things. And suddenly your view of the door in front of you becomes a little hazier. And you suddenly start to realize that there is a gaseous fume pouring through the door at the very end of the hall, and the gas is floating towards you. Let's see.
So I'm in a room filled with gas.
Yes.
Sounds like fun. As a cog, I don't breathe, do I?
You do intake oxygen. So cogs are cogs are synthetic humanoids to an extent. They actually are created in the likeness of other similar bipedal races, and they all more or less require lungs and stuff like that. So they're built for the same purpose. They sort of try to almost mimic human thought processes. So yeah, more or less you have a filtering system like an intake.
Sounds like I'm in a dire situation.
A little bit. And in just a second, I'm going to read to you what's kind of happening. I do appreciate the wait because I'm answering some questions that are coming in through the live stream. So,
Not a problem. Post that through. Post that through.
it's weird. I was just typing and it all disappeared.
All right. Well, while we wait, as the developer talks with a few people on his Kickstarter, feel free to actually hop over to his Kickstarter for everyone tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and see if you'd like to pledge, if you're interested in this, if it's something you like, or if, you're just feeling generous. Hop over there, and he's got a bunch of different options for you guys so that you could help us get this project up and running. In the meantime, I'm going to try to put on some soft music because my background is so quiet. Let's see here.
Yeah, so there was so I'm getting questions specifically about getting the Kickstarter live fund set back up because it's not exactly being promoted on the front page. I think that it should. I think that it's a great opportunity for a lot of people to show off product if they don't have all of the stuff that they need. The good news is that the Kickstarter Live account allows you to be able to share it on other forms of social media that are much more heavily used. We're streaming this on Facebook as well, through Twitch. So we're doing it across a bunch of different boards to hopefully get a bit more people interested in the product. Yeah, that's what I can say on that. It is what it is, you know?
Indubitably.
So, yes. So anyway, okay. So back to our poor Stumpy character. He is trapped inside this hallway of a maze that is old and oaken, and gas is leaking in through the door at the other end of the hall. And you can notice that the gas is starting to almost take a shape or multiple shapes. It sort of congeals as it floats towards you. So you are now encountering what is known as the Many Faces. It is an intangible force that moves throughout the maze. It is unknown whether the Many Faces is a creature or a trick of the mind created by another being within the maze itself. What is known is that it does not tire nor feel any emotional feelings, and seems to possess some form of telepathy. The survival rate of encounters with the Many Faces is good, although it does leave survivors scarred or emotionally damaged. Surviving a brush with the Many Faces has also made people go mad or even have a change in personality. Luckily, the Many Faces does not linger in one place for long, as it keeps its own traveling course. It has been seen to move along corridors in the maze unfazed, even though it has just interacted with travelers. The Many Faces appear as a cloud, shifting and churning fog or smoke. Its color varies based off factors that are unknown to all. Inside the fog, however, the Many Faces changes drastically in appearance as animated faces move all around within the fog. Happy, sad, anger, all emotions are present within the Many Faces that change infinitely without pattern. It speaks without having a voice and can communicate in any language. While near the faces, people have heard voices calling out, muttering, so on and so forth. When the Many Faces interacts with a traveler, it reads their emotions and personality and brings them to the surface. All emotions and moments are laid bare for the traveler. This has been shown to impact them, certain people dramatically, and cause them unrest. So, as it comes in, we're going to have you make a soul check.
Oh, crap.
What's your soul modifier?
-1.
I love it.
I ain't got no soul. I'm a robot.
So, a brief description for anyone watching. How the stats work in the game, it's not based off of a multitude of lists. You have your body, your mind, your soul, and then you have luck. Any action requiring physical ability requires a body modifier or requires the use of the body stat. Anything doing with thinking processes or calculating or using your head for anything is obviously used for the mind. Spiritually and morally, your soul modifier affects like your charisma and, you know, how well do you communicate with others, your personality, that type of thing. And then your luck is just that. It is quite literally how lucky you are. So,
I'd say not lucky so far.
So far, I mean, you barely made it past a Minotaur.
I would say that was a warm-up.
Yep. Okay. Interesting. All right.
Beep boop.
So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take, as the fog starts to leak in and it creeps further towards you, you can hear a light humming almost. You hear the chanting of something that may or may not be humanoid. And as it wafts around you and through you, you hear a voice inside your head. And it tells you to always look up. And as this happens, it almost kind of, you feel a sharp searing pain kind of dig a little bit inside your brain. And then suddenly, just like that, it's gone. There is nothing left to remain of that fateful encounter. As the many faces drifts on by, you feel more or less unfazed by this, and the end of the hallway is within reach.
Interesting. So I guess at this point, I will heed this strange and intrusive message. I will look up and approach towards the door or the exit.
All right. So you reach the door, keeping an eye out for anything that might be above you or anything like that, and yet you still don't see anything that seems dangerous. All right. So beyond the door, you open it up, and it almost looks or appears to be a wall right in front of you, impassable. And yet, you can see that there are just enough space or a small enough crevice in order for you to be able to maybe fit and slide kind of in between this wall and the door frame. And you could go either left or right. So I will leave that up to you. Which way would you like to shimmy?
I will shimmy left.
Shimmy to the left.
Shimmy, shimmy. Shimmy, shimmy.
All right. All right. 1 sec. Currently, I'm looking through to see which event this is going to take place. All right. So, as you start shimmying to the left, slower and slower, you feel it start to widen up a little bit. And then, without hesitation, the floor drops from underneath you, and you fall, landing on a platform probably only just 100 or so feet below you. And what you see in front of you almost baffles you. You cannot comprehend quite the magnitude of the situation that you've landed yourself into. So, I'm going to read what you have discovered, which is the Gauntlet.
Ooh.
The Gauntlet is a large stretch of the maze that has been renovated and tampered with over many years by other travelers. This part of the maze is very dangerous and to those who lack physical stamina. Many points and places in the maze lead to the Gauntlet, and more access points are being discovered daily. Robbers form the Gauntlet to protect their loot from things from being stolen. Over the years, the Gauntlet has continued only to grow in size and increasingly dangerous. Traps, challenges, puzzles are littered out through the Gauntlet to protect many hiding stashes of treasure. Many robbers who build the Gauntlet also have died trying to get their loot back. The corridors of the Gauntlet were modified to act as obstacle courses with a deadly price for failure. So,
good to know.
Yeah. So more or less, you have to make a sprint to the end of the Gauntlet in order to make it out. And what's your body modifier?
+1. So,
that's something.
Not looking too good.
I mean, it's just a little something. All right. Oh. Okay. So you see a bunch of moving, rotating discs. They could or could not potentially be bladed. I'll leave that one up to your own imagination. And as you try to leap across them, one narrowly scratches you and gives you a point of damage.
Dang it.
Yeah. All right.
It's a good thing I drank those potions.
For real. And this is only the beginning. You have to continuously make body checks in order to get to the end.
Oh.
And only I know the distance that you have to go.
All right, so
and for each failed check, you'll keep taking more damage.
I keep proceeding after taking a minor scratch.
Yep.
And
okay.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean, so you leapt across. The blade sort of came by word and then scratched you. Then you notice these gigantic razor sharp pendulums sort of swishing back and forth clockwise or in front of you. And you still had your momentum from jumping over the razors, that you take a diving leap, and you actually make it across before any of the giant pendulums can more or less cut you into ribbons.
It's good to know. You know,
Yes.
can't afford to lose any more health.
All right.
That was a tough one. Did a lot of running. Didn't even stretch
And
first.
I was about to say, and you're starting to get a little exhausted, enough to the point where darts start firing out from the sides of the walls, and you kind of think that you're going to make it past it, and then there's sort of an extra little burst of darts, and they actually hit you for 2 points of damage.
Dang it.
Yeah. Luckily, you only have to make one more. You can see the end is within reach. There is a sort of pit in front of you that looks safe enough to hide under, and there you can see another doorway that you can potentially get out of this from.
Is there any way to avoid this dangerous obstacle in front of me?
Yeah, actually, you made a really decent roll. I'm not even gonna lie. So you're passing through the gauntlet, you're diving, you're ducking, you're dodging. And oops, sorry, spilling things. So you finally make it to the pit and you dive down, and then you hear this large rolling sound like grinding on pavement.
Oh. That was usually our
And
friendly.
you realize that the pit that you're in is in fact starting to compress. The ceiling above you is starting to move down, hence the grinding noise. And you only have a few seconds before it starts to actually fully collapse on you.
Well, let's sprint to the end.
All right, one last check. Okay. So just as you're about to make it to the end, you can see it. The goal is within reach. The door's on the other end. You're almost made it there, and then the roof collapses.
On top of me?
And it hits you enough to cause you damage, but it does not fully crush you. You do, however, take another point of damage.
This is not looking good.
Yeah. So what are we at this point?
I have 4 life.
The lucky part is you have made it now to the end of the gauntlet, and on the other side of the door, there's almost a small little waiting room there. There's a chair and a little section right next to you where there's like a little a little cocktail station, and next to the chair and the cocktail station is a chest.
I'm gonna go to the cocktail station and get myself a drink.
Boom. Go for it.
And then while I have this drink, I'm gonna sit down in my chair, sip it with my mechanical pinky out, and then once I finish, I'm gonna walk over to this chest, and I'm gonna make sure there's no contraptions or traps that are gonna do more damage to me.
All right. Well, here's the good news. The concoction that you made yourself when you made yourself a drink actually was made from a special potion, probably designed from someone taking respite from the gauntlet itself, and it actually restored 3 health.
Yes!
So there you go. Kids, remember, drinking alcohol pays. All right, so you look at the chest. It doesn't seem like any other but like an ordinary wooden chest with basic lock. Doesn't even seem like it's that difficult of a thing.
Alright, so I want to open the chest. So I'm going to try to unlock this basic lock.
Alright. Oh my god. You realize that there was no lock? It was like one of those things where it's just like, it looks like a lock, but it's a fake lock.
Yes, even easier.
And yeah.
I'm going
so
to
it just
plunder
swings
this
open
chest.
Naturally. So inside, you're going to find 100 copper.
Still 300 negative.
All right. And you're going to find about 30 feet of rope. And a small knife.
Well, this sounds helpful. Too bad I can't go and tie that Minotaur up now. And beat him to death with my staff.
Oh my god. I can just say the Minotaur was most likely probably much stronger than a piece of rope.
You never know. Tie it around him multiple times. If you tie a rope in a hexagonal pattern, it increases the rope's strength substantially. I know this because I am a cog.
Okay, sure. Whatever makes you happy. I'm glad. Okay. So, funny enough, that was the last checkpoint that you needed to reach.
Yes.
So, at this point, I would just like to make a note that that is what we've been playing for the last hour or two. Has been solely, 2 hours, has been the first portion of the game, which is the traversing of the maze. There's so many different encounters and things to discover within the maze itself. So, with many more to come, I plan to create even more encounters to be added on and mixed up. So it'll never be the same twice, more or less. Now, once you've reached the end point, right? So you're waiting in this sort of respite, this place with a little chair and a nice little cocktail with probably a nice little umbrella in the drink.
Heck yeah.
And you hear a commotion, almost like a regular sort of people. I'm trying to think of how to say this, like just sort of like a regular day in a market where you hear a lot of noise and a lot of chatter. Kids are laughing. You can hear people arguing and people laughing. There's a lot of commotion on the other side of this door.
What's up, Sep? Welcome to the Kickstarter stream.
Hello.
As you can see, we are playing Legend of the Maze. It's a tabletop game. It's on the go. If you'd like, you can visit the Kickstarter page and see what he has going on in that regard. Maybe even, oh yeah, he's got a copy of you call it, the guidebook.
Yeah, the Traveler's Guidebook. It's the rule book that comes with the game.
I'm gonna pull it up. So this is what it's gonna kind of look like. You can see on my stream, Legend of the Maze, Traveler's Guidebook,
Yeah.
and you'll see his insignia right down here, the battle axe kind of image with Odd Man Out Games. That's who our architect is today. He's the founder, designer, and creator of this. I am in the UK. But you can proceed. So you were talking about how we were entering into this second phase and how you're going to be creating more phases so that this there's no experience that's the same. It's always different.
Right. So the adventures that we've already had will shape what you've already done. So, you know, in this experience, you've encountered the Minotaur. If you were to play again with more friends and stuff like that, if we were to play this again and we re-encountered the Minotaur, it's not to say that it resets itself. The world is still there. You'll probably meet it again in some way, shape, or form. But you know, it's going to continuously evolve, and there's more and more different types of events that's going to be added. So it'll be different. It'll be quite different.
This reminds me kind of like the movie The Maze Runner, where when you enter the maze, it's always like shifting, and you never go in there the same time. Like it's never the same path twice.
That's actually, it was kind of an inspiration, you could call it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, we were just in this little respite. You can hear on the other side of the door that there's this sort of noise and banter going around on this side. So if you'd like, we can take a look at that.
Sure, let's proceed towards that. Unless you want to take a small break, it's up to you. We've been at it for 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. Break might not be bad. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, do you want to take a break?
Sure. Feel free, guys, to post on the Twitter or Facebook, the Twitch or YouTube channels, any commentary, questions, or if you want to head over to his live Kickstarter, you can also enter into the Q&A there, and then you'll see the pledge at the top right, where you can visit his project page, and you'll see how you can be a novice, official, veteran, master traveler if you would like to participate in helping this tabletop game get off the ground.
I mean, I would really appreciate any help that we can get. Any amount of money, any amount of pledge is so helpful. It is, it's been a long time and it's been hard. I've been trying to really get this packed and down and created. So I'm happy for anyone who's able to help. You know, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And I mean, with the amount of community we have, even if every person donates or does just the novice traveler, we could meet our goal or his goal in no time.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But either way, we appreciate you guys for watching.
Yeah, thank you. All right, cool. So we'll take a small break and then reconvene in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
All right.
Turn this into intermission, guys. We will be back.
Not bad at all. My live stream has to keep going because if I cancel it or if I stop it and go off air, I have to like start a whole new one and the whole thing gets messy. Yeah, so
Well, I mean, the goal right now is to just get the word out. I mean, there's still like 26 days before we end our funding goals. And the truth be told, if, if we make it, that's great. I think that would be more than amazing. But, just doing the experience, even if it doesn't work, I can say that I've tried and I put in the effort and I'm proud of it regardless. So. Oh, is it really? Yeah, that's true. I mean, at the same time, I'm fine with, calling it good for tonight. We can do this again tomorrow and we can kind of make it a regular thing. So, yeah. And now that I've got this whole thing going, once it's ended, I can use it to help keep promoting and stuff like that. So. Yeah, because I mean, if it's 12 over there, man, that's crazy. And it's 7 over here, plus I have to be up at like 4 in the morning, so that's a thing. Yeah. Gotta keep paying them bills. Yeah. Oh, Gabby, I love you. All right. Yay. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm actually going to try and talk to more people, especially tomorrow. I know I have a lot of people off. I'm going to see if anyone else might, like some of my own friends and stuff, might want to sit down and be a part of the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, if you want to bring more people in, it would definitely make the journey more interesting.
That's what I was thinking. And then the other part is that, like, there's other stuff I want to look into. I've got a great commenter right now, saying that, they're offering a lot of stuff like, showing other places where we can promote. So I'm going to look into a bunch of these stuff. So.
Sounds good. All right, guys, feel free to tune in tomorrow because we're going to head further into the maze tomorrow in our second episode. Other than that, thank you for all watching, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Feel free to head over to Chase's Kickstarter page and help contribute if you can find it within your means. Other than that, you all have a great night. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.